Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your co-pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue on this journey of learning one Chinese expression a day. Yesterday, we talked about 大兵压境. Okay, mark the time. The release time is March 25th, but I was recording this in February. And so by now, when I was recording this, by the end of February, the Ukraine situation dramatically changed. It was no longer 大兵压境, which means the troops are gathering along the borders, not invasion yet. The border was broken and Ukraine was invaded, and the world was hurting, praying for Ukraine, hope they can somehow resist and survive this attack and invasion. It's really tough to see. Anyways, that's 大兵压境 we talked about last time, and we are going to change this 境. It's a different type of 境 this time. 犹如仙境. Okay, we don't have militaries or troops anymore, but we have ferry. Okay, so fairy land, and 犹如 is as if. So 犹, it looks like this. It has the dog symbol on the side, and this looks, I mean, this is symmetrical, right? Almost look like a face of something. So it's originally this word was created to mean a type of ape. I'm not sure, like back then when at a language creation, like a human society, they live not so far away from animal world, that apes are plenty around, that they have to identify different types of apes. So this is one type. And eventually apes disappear, right? And that word was created, but no longer the referral, no longer existing in society that frequently see, right? But this word survived because it adopted new identity. It was becoming comparison. So I guess here it's kind of like a dog and then ape. I mean, dog symbol simply means it's an animal, it's a type of animal, not necessarily dog. And the right is a sound maker, maybe a type of image as well, that gives it like a subcategory of a type of ape. So this word eventually was used to mean a comparison. So 犹如 together, they're actually formed one unit of meaning. It's just like in English, the as if. So this 如 we talked many times before is a comparison between A and B, and it has the female symbol, and then on the right is mouth. So it's following, submissive, right? Female symbol, following instructions. So it's originally means following orders or instructions, and then it becomes a following, like B was following A, so B was kind of a comparing itself to A, try to copy as vividly originally as possible. So that's 如. So this ape and this following orders eventually becomes just as if 犹如. It's a kind of literal expression. Like in contemporary Chinese, we don't exactly say 犹如. We say mostly 好像. 好 is good. 像 is just like. So, just like English, like was frequently used, and 好像 is easier for contemporary Chinese to use. 犹如 is more, far away, kind of a dreamy quality. Okay, 先, we have left and right structure. The left is a person figure, right? Stick figure, but put aside, kind of become so this is something related to a person. And then on the right side is mountain symbol. So we have 3 peaks. The base was connected, right? Okay, so a person and a mountain. And it turned out if a person lives in a mountain, it's not living in village, so it's not really a regular person. In Chinese society, probably like monks, right? Monks, like they're outside the society, outside the regular civil life. They live in a mountain, in a temple, something like that. But they're in the Chinese frames of worldview, the fairies living in a mountain. So these are the person looking but the supernatural kind of person, super person. And this fairy is different, I realize, even if it is translated as fairyland. When English speaker look at the word fairyland, okay, so it's like a storytelling. It's almost like Disneyland type of fairyland, right? Because Disneyland was kind of branded itself or casted itself or projected itself as a type of fairyland. But that's not the image here, okay? Chinese fairies looks different than a Tinkerbell. Chinese fairies mostly are aged, ancient, wise man with long beard, long eyebrow. Eyebrow drooping is a thing, like in depicting such fairies. Like they live so long, they don't bother to trim their eyebrows, brows anymore. So it just keeps drooping, and the beard also drooping. So that's the image of fairy. And I guess for Chinese society, fairies maybe for praying as well, or if you run into troubles, you can go talk to fairies. I don't exactly know the fairies in function to civil life there, but fairies definitely, they live long. They are sort of like immortals, and they they are not sexualized at all. Okay, if anything, Chinese appreciate or admire wisdom. So old-looking men, old wise men are put on the pedestal, are looked up to, that are prayed to. So they are the type of fairies image. So paradise-like is, because I don't want to use a fairyland as a different ideal, different visuals, and just use paradise like. And the paradise, I know in Western culture, there is a kind of imagination of how paradise look like, right? It's a little bit different aesthetically in Chinese culture, what a fairyland, what a paradise looks like. Because it's a agriculture-based society, so good farming and the low government involvement probably is the ideal, which means it's kind of a secluded. So the government policies or officials are not even discover this piece of secluded land, that they are on their own most of the time, and they can do their farming. There's no heavy taxing. There's no other like a military or labor drafting, like a mandatory, you have to provide labor and protection for the country back then. So it's not bothered by the outside world. It's its own society. It's farming based, probably a little bit hunting. So the picture I put over here looks a little bit like that, with peach flowers blooming, simply because in literature history in China, somebody called Tao Yuanming, he depicted this paradise for Chinese, for like that imagination, that image passed down generations wise, just like what I described. It's its own society, independent of the central government control, and have their own land, productive, self-sustained, doesn't have to be rich or comfortable in the sense of contemporary living, but they have their own peaceful world uninterrupted by the outside. And it was hidden by peach blooming trees. And so as an outsider looking in, like they are their own world. That's the ideal of paradise. And it's not necessarily tropical either. You can see pine trees or tall trees and mountains. Like these are very bony looking mountains. So it does like surrounded, enclosured by, protected by nature mountains, but then they have their own, production, own source of food and textile. All right, so that's our paradise like. 犹如仙境. Cash into the currency of thinking by just one word a day with me, Sophie. See you another day.